So essentially today I wanted to do a talk about two really cool features that exist on Celo. And I really want to sort of think about how Celo, compared to other L1s and the people who work on Celo at cLabs and the foundation and in the ecosystem, I think have a real strength in focusing on the user experience first and sort of the implementation and how technical and complicated it is second. And the two features that I'll be interested in discussing with you are SocialConnect, which is a tool that you can use to find addresses, and the fee currency feature. So maybe out of interest, who has heard of the fee currency feature on Celo? Okay, 3 people, very few. That's good. Because when the slides come up, you'll see I called it rediscovering the fee currency feature. It's actually part of Celo since day one. And the second feature is called SocialConnect. Out of curiosity, who has heard of SocialConnect? Okay, a few more. That's exciting, yeah. These are the slides, and if you're interested, it doesn't look like a lot of people have a laptop, but all these slides are on GitHub. You can find them there. They'll be there forever, so you don't have to take notes. You can just check them out later. Let's see if this works. Yes, this works, great. So part one is rediscovering the fee currency feature, and I'll basically break this presentation into two. So I wanted to motivate the fee currency feature first by sort of explaining or giving an analogy from the Web 2 world, right? So if someone wants to buy a ticket to go to a concert, they go to the website, they type in their credit card number, and they pay in dollars because that's what they have, or they pay in euros because that's what they have in euro, and they just pay, and then they get their ticket, right? In the crypto world, what you have to do if you want to buy, say, an NFT that represents a ticket is you get CUSD, which is your stable token, and then typically on other blockchains, you have to make the transaction using the Celo token because that's the gas currency used on the network. And as a user, really all you wanted to do is buy an NFT. You didn't really think so much about, ooh, what's gas and what is ETH and what's Celo to start with, right? All I wanted to do is just basically get an NFT. And the user experience is jilted because effectively you come to the ticketing website, you get your USDC or CUSD, and then you want to make the purchase, and then the website says, oh, you don't have Celo. Okay, so then you have to go and swap them somewhere, or you go back to your app on Coinbase or whatever you use to on-ramp, and you have to get some small amount of Celo to make the transaction payment so that the transaction goes onto the blockchain. And all you wanted to do is buy the NFT. All that Celo has done is effectively allow other currencies to be accepted as a means of payment for transactions. So what that means is if you want to make an NFT purchase in CUSD, you can also submit the transaction in CUSD. And that means that as a user, we can completely abstract away the idea of gas currencies. The user just knows an NFT costs $100. I buy it for $100. I don't have to think about the Celo token. I don't have to think about the ETH token. I don't have to think about anything like that. And this is a feature that has existed since day one on Celo. The only problem is it was really cumbersome to use because most of the applications that would allow you to buy NFTs or allow you to interact with the Celo blockchain had to install a library called ContractKit. And that library is a little bit complicated to use, not very well documented, and effectively made it cumbersome to use. But what we have done recently, which is really exciting, is we said we want to resurface this feature and give it to you in the form that you like to use, which is essentially using the libraries that you use today. So VM is a very popular library. It's created by the people at Paradigm. They're also the people who created the WAGMI library. And with VM, we made a contribution whereby you can simply make a transaction object, and rather than just saying from and to account, you can pass a fee currency feature, which is really neat. And you can say, I would like to pay for this transaction in the CUSD fee currency. And simply by adding a second, a third or fourth parameter, you are able to enable this feature on your application without having to write tons of code, changing 15 libraries, just it's there, and when you need it with VM, you can use it immediately. So our next hope is that we will add this feature to Ethers, which is a very popular library. Who here uses Ethers? Nobody? Okay, maybe we don't have many developers in the room. But Ethers is sort of like the mother of all libraries in Web3 at the moment. You know, it gets something like 900,000 monthly downloads. In comparison, VM gets 90K, so it's 1 to 10. But we're very excited about this. It's a small change, but we're really hoping that this enables you to provide much better user experiences. And to maybe highlight what this enables is, think about something like Curve or Uniswap or any other Web3 app that you know from Ethereum. As soon as they deploy on Celo, they can not only deploy and provide the same experience that they have on Ethereum, but they can provide a unique experience on Celo that they cannot provide anywhere else, which is to swap or transact or purchase using a currency that the user already has. So the user doesn't have to think so much about fee currencies. Okay. Because this is a short talk, I want to quickly talk about SocialConnect, which is sort of a second point that we focused on in the user experience. So when you want to transfer assets on the blockchain, typically all those things happen between hexadecimal addresses, right? This really complicated, cumbersome address is you on the blockchain. And that's not particularly convenient for people who want to send each other value with Valora or other wallets, right? If I want to send my friend Alice or Bob some money, I don't want to have to say, hey, could you tell me your 32-digit hexadecimal address, right? I'd much rather say, oh, sure, yeah, I've got your phone number. I'll just send you money. So this experience of sending money using phone numbers was also part of Celo from day one. But it was a little cumbersome to use as well, and so our team at Celo, and cLabs specifically, spent a lot of time redesigning it, and we redesigned it and launched it under the name SocialConnect. So that's the name. So I don't want to go into too much detail how it works specifically, because I think that's another 40 minutes, and Alec at the back can explain everything. But you can find me after this talk, and I can explain in detail, but I think the TLDR is that you can think of sort of two columns, right? You have the phone numbers on one side and the addresses on the other. And ultimately, what we want to achieve is that if I want to send my friend Alex some money, I don't want to have to ask him for his hexadecimal address. What I'd like to do is have him register the address that belongs to him next to his phone number. And then what I can do in my app, say Kala or Libera from Impact Market, is send him money and find his address by looking up his phone number in that table. But we don't want to publish phone numbers on the blockchain because that would be terrible for user privacy, obviously. So the innovation that we worked on and that we have launched is essentially a way to obfuscate phone numbers. So this phone number becomes something much harder to reverse engineer, and it's essentially unreadable, but it is interpretable to an application like Valora. So if I'm in Valora and Alec is in Kala, Valora can find Alec's phone number that he registered through Kala. Similarly, beneficiaries of Impact Market donations using the Libera app can find my phone number or each other's phone number using this protocol as well. And this is, I'm not going to lie, this is pretty exciting. I think I've been speaking to people at ECC and they have never heard about this, and they're always like, wow, how have I not heard about this? This is so exciting. So about how it works, meet me later if you want, I'll explain, but I just want to give you a little gist. So if you're a dApp developer and you want to use this feature, in a nutshell, right, this is simplified, you would do two things. You would register a phone number, and the way you do it is you add an obfuscated identifier, which is effectively just the hidden phone number, right, that no one can read, and you add the account, which is the address, right, this hexadecimal thing. And if you want to look up a phone number, which is what you would do to make a transaction, you call this function in a smart contract, and you pass in the obfuscated identifier, right? So you say, hey, please give me Alex's phone number, and here is Alex's phone number in an obfuscated fashion. And the entire magic of SocialConnect is how do all participants get access to this obfuscated identifier without giving up privacy, without giving up decentralization, without giving up too much information about themselves. And there's a demo recorded between the Kala wallet and Libera, which is the folks from Impact Market. And there are screenshots and live examples you can find at socialconnect.dev. And next week, there is a hackathon at ETH Global, and there is about 10K in prizes for building with SocialConnect. So if you're interested in this, please meet me and Alec outside, or meet people from DevRel. They know SocialConnect in detail. And you can find me at this handle. This is my very short talk. Thank you very much.